Hi, Amy.
Abby.
It's a new season.
Yay.
90 Day Fiancé, Season 11, Episode 1.
Uno.
I'm so excited. I was excited, and then it kind of went away. But before we get into that, let me just do my 1, 2, 3. 1,
Okay.
rate, review, and follow us wherever you listen to the podcast, please. Thank you. 2, watch our podcast on YouTube at 90 Day Fiancé Honestly. 3, our subscriber-only content in which we're discussing Season 2 of The Last Resort, as well as Between the Sheets, is available on Apple and Spotify only. Okay, let's get into it. What did you think? What did you think?
Boring.
Yeah.
I was really surprised at how bored I was, because you know how excited we've been over the last couple of weeks to start a new season, and you know, yay, new couples. And then watching it was just such a letdown. I mean, I realized that it's the first episode, but I expected a lot more authenticity and a lot less clout chasing.
Oh, the clout chasers are back in full force. It's blatantly obvious. It's disappointing. And I really want to get this message across to the producers of this television show. We do not appreciate clout chasers. We are not tuning in for them.
No.
It's the love stories that interest us, not these people who are perpetually putting on shows and theatrics and fake drama with their fake bodies and everything about them that is so incredibly false and just repugnantly transparent. Go away. Give us the real people.
Yes.
Please.
This is supposed to be reality TV with a W or an H.
Yes.
Reality.
WHREALITY.
That.
Reality. I agree. And I was so disappointed. Like you said, for the last few weeks, been looking forward to this so much, hoping that they have new couples who are as interesting as we might have seen in people like David and Sheila, or
Miles and Matilda.
Or Kenny and
Armando.
now his name is, thank you, Armando. Yeah. But no, we're just going to put you with some silly people, all of whom are there for the wrong reasons. Well, maybe not all, but I suspect probably all.
I'm going to say one thing that is positive. We still have other couples to meet.
We have 2 more, one of whom we already know. That's Sean and Aaliyah.
Right.
And then the other couple is Greg and somebody else who are new. But that's it.
I still have Hopi.
But you're putting all your eggs in the Greg basket. I don't think that's very smart.
You know what? Maybe one of these couples is going to really surprise us, and it's going to be everything our hearts and trashy minds desire.
Okay. Well, let's get right into it then, I guess.
We've got a long road ahead, man. We got to have something to look forward to.
Yep. Jessica and Juan. Well, we've seen these guys before. We know their story. They fell in love on the cruise ship. She has been to see him many times. She has her 2 boys. They got pregnant. They got engaged. Now she
has 3.
3. Okay. And she lives in Torrington, Wyoming.
I really just wanted to break out in the cruise ship lollipop song.
Please don't. That'll be stuck in my head all day. I won't be able to get it out. I'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'll hear it.
And then you're going to curse me. Okay, anyway.
Yes.
So, yes.
So, Torrington, Wyoming is where she lives. This is apparently the poop capital of the USA, according to Jessica's son, Dawson. The 3 boys, they're a handful.
Yes.
Did we have any notes on the 3 boys?
I thought it was, so it's not really child specific, but her being all grossed out by the amount of poop and, you know, the smell, which is normal for her. She's lived there for a while. The kids have grown up in this, but her being grossed out about it was just so odd, because she has 3 children, 2 kids and an infant. There's a lot of poop in that house. There's a lot of poop outside that house. So why is she pretending that she's so grossed out by it?
Okay. Didn't think of that. I was thinking more along the lines of, where is the baby daddy? I don't remember him from other seasons.
I also wrote that down. Is he in their lives? Where art thou, baby daddy of children's 1 and 2? Because I believe it was the same father.
No idea. I was also thinking about the things that they were showing on camera, like the state of her house, which looked a little bit messy, to be kind. And also her parenting style is very permissive. Not that that's an issue if you're both on the same page. But we know Juan is not on that page.
Yes, I was thinking about their last season as I was watching it and how irritated he was with the kids and how she never told them no. And then, they go and get pregnant. So as an aside, does anyone use protection anymore?
Apparently not.
So now he's coming to the States, and not only does he now have a son, but he's marrying into, or has married into, a family with 2 more children, whom he's already expressed parental rearing discontent with. So now he's going from being a complete singleton, living his best cruise ship life, and now he's walking into a family of 5, one with an infant, and to quote Dawson, the poop state capital, whatever that term is. And he made a comment where he needed to try to be a dad. And I thought that was very telling of what's to come. It's just going to be a huge shock for him. He's not going to like it. And I feel like these two just have not communicated enough, if at all, to get on the same page about what life is actually going to be like when he gets there. I think right now it's all sunshine and rainbows. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone, but mostly his son, obviously. And he's going to be in for a really rude awakening.
Yes. I actually look forward to this. I look forward to the mayhem that is going to ensue because he is going to get mad. He's going to get angry. It's going to be chaos. He's much more structured than Jessica is. And
he have seen his job.
He had to leave his job. He doesn't have any job now. We know the new person coming to the States always has to wait for some fairly long period of time before they can actually work. So this creates a bit of an issue, I think, for somebody who's been working a long, long time. He knows the language, so he's got that going for him. He can speak English really well. It is a completely new culture. He's in the middle of nowhere. There is nothing. There's no nightlife. There's no fun times. There's no young people. It's just cows and deserted streets.
And 3 children.
I should have said deserted street because it's such a little town. There's nothing. He's going to have to adjust to this never-ending, noisy, messy, smelly lifestyle. And he's coming from a country which is beautiful and warm, tropical,
and lively.
And he's been living on a cruise ship in luxury with people throwing money at him just because he makes some wonderful drinks. To say that this is going to be a different lifestyle for him is a major understatement.
So 2 things is, one, she did make the comment where the town is so small that everyone likely knows that he's coming. That's going to be a stark difference from his cruise ship and home life. And also, as a bartender, he likes his fancy beverages, or he likes to create, obviously, because he's a bartender. The likelihood of him being able to get like the most basic of all staples for his bar at home is going to be so difficult.
I think that'll be the least of his worries, is where can I get some amaretto or whatever it is.
Yeah. Some Campari. He's going to have to order it in.
These two are going to clash. They're going to clash so hard. It's going to be really, really interesting to watch. So for this, I am excited. And yes, I recognize that this is perhaps me deriving pleasure from somebody else's pain, but that is the nature of this show sometimes.
Did you say crash?
Clash.
Oh, I thought you were going to say collapse. And I was like, perfect. So collapse as well.
Speaking of collapsing,
oh God,
what is it with Jessica's face? It looks like it's collapsed. It looks like she's been run over with a steamroller. She looks so different. I didn't recognize her. And I was like, what is going on? And then they showed the photos and the previous clips of them together on the cruise ship. And I was like, yes, that's the Jessica I remember. Some people, as they age, their faces get really wide, they're flat.
Couldn't that also just be like a symptom of her pregnancy? Isn't that possible that your face can grow with pregnancies? I don't know. I honestly didn't notice, but I'll probably notice in the next episode.
Okay.
I definitely did not notice. I didn't recognize her at first.
That's what I mean.
But
it's like, who is this?
Doesn't she have bangs now? Anyway.
Jessica, who has these 3 kids now and has a full-time job as a mental health counselor. This was news to me. I didn't know that she had a full-time job, but wow, does she need help? To be a full-time mom to 3 and a full-time employee working 9 to 5 every day, Juan is going to get thrown into the deep end. Another exciting moment, to be sure.
After never having cared for children before, let alone an infant.
Yeah. And these 2 wild kids who don't listen, who have never had the word no said to them for anything. It's going to be delicious. Okay. See what I mean? I'm so happy that I predict he's gonna throw in the towel.
Yeah, but how quickly?
I don't know. I can't say how long it will take, but I don't think he's gonna survive.
He's not gonna last the season. That's all I'm predicting.
The airport reunion scene was touching, where they're all hugging as a family. I thought that was really cute. And I wish that it would stay that way, but I know it is not. No, probably not even for half an hour. As soon as they get in the car, they're screaming, baby crying. You can see it in his eyes. He already wants to go home.
And you could tell from the very beginning, like it was the cutaway or the interview, what he said, he was really looking forward to seeing his son. And it sucks being away from his son. I'm like, oh, we're already setting ourselves up to ostracize the other 2. You're definitely favoring this one, which I mean is understanding, but you've married into this family. All 3 kids are yours now.
Yeah. Yay. Well, they're not married, right? Like they still have yet to get married, I thought.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. So they are on their 90-day visa.
I can't keep track with these people, you know?
I know.
Most of them have been married, so.
When they started mixing up the married couples with the engaged couples, I started to get very confused. And yeah, the show lost a little something with that change, but I think we're mostly talking about this season couples who are actually engaged and not married yet, except for Shekinah and Sarper. Didn't they get married in Istanbul and the previous season they were on?
So
yeah. Let's move on to our second couple. We've got not a couple, a throuple. Okay. So TLC is throwing us the curveball of the throuple this year. God only knows why. We have Matt. He's 36. Amani. Okay. So it's written Amani, but everybody's saying Mini.
I didn't notice that. Is this another Magna thing?
It's another Magna. Amini is 30. And then the third element of this relationship triangle thing is Annie in Mexico. All right. Matt and Amini have 2 daughters, and they have been together since college, which is lovely. I was thinking, they've got a solid couple here. They got married after a mere 3 months of dating. They moved in 1 week after they met. Okay. So they have a history of very compulsive behavior.
You know, I'm glad that it's worked out for them thus far. And I appreciated when Matt said, you know, there was a lot of things that they needed to learn in a short period of time. And he's just glad that they, you know, got through it. And, you know, good for you, Matt. But also, don't you learn from your previous impulsive decisions?
No. Why would we? Next, we are treated to a scene which took me back to another similar scene from Jasmine and Gino, where Amani dresses up in a naughty nurse outfit and he is a naughty doctor. Why? What is with the soft porn, TLC? Why do we need to see this? Please go ahead and get yourself a life. We don't need to see this crap.
This is them soft launching their OnlyFans account. Clout again. Clout. Now, I don't know if I have somehow turned into a prude in my older age, but I found this completely and utterly unnecessary and just tasteless.
Exactly. We don't need to see it. That's not the reason why we tune in. We tune in for the story of how they fell in love and how they stay in love, not to see them moments before they're about to have intercourse. That's a private moment. That's something I don't need to think about or imagine. I just assume that you guys are good, and that's fine with me. I don't need to go into your bedroom. I don't need to start out having these X-rated scenes where everything is so awkward and you know that the camera people and the boom mic guys are all there, and it must be so incredibly difficult for everybody involved. It takes away from the show when they do this for me.
I agree. It's not about like intimacy and building connections and exploring their love for each other. This is 100% the intro to their OnlyFans. And I wasn't there for that. But as you were talking about that, I wonder if cameras somehow, because they always have them on their shoulder, if they have some sort of like equalization thing for when they're inevitably laughing during this entire thing, because it's so awkward. How do you keep a straight face? How do you not laugh?
I don't know. They've probably been trained to bite their tongues or their lips really, really hard in these scenes. And so they are professionals at not losing it in front of half-naked people. That's the other thing. It seems like this is the opportunity for them to show off their bodies for us, which, again, I don't need that.
I don't care.
I'm really not interested. Put some clothes on, please. That would be nice.
And then I thought it was hilarious when they showed Ani on the laptop.
Yeah.
Watching from Mexico. And it kind of looked like she was at a restaurant. She likely wasn't, but that's all I had in my head every time they showed her was she's at a restaurant.
She had an unusual background, that was for sure.
When they're talking, for order to come out.
When they're talking about Ani, it's mostly in sexualized terms, which I thought was A, off-putting, and B, very telling.
Yes.
How is this supposed to work, this relationship where you're going to bring her to the United States to live with you forever if all of your focus is on the bedroom activities? Genuinely curious about how you can possibly think that you can bring somebody over to the US, you can change their life completely just for sex. What?
And, at first they said that they met at a club, and then I think Matt let it slip that, or no, maybe it was a mini where she said that it was when we were leaving the strip club. That's a great start. And then we also find out that Ani has 3 kids, and she only has custody of her youngest, who is her daughter. So now they're planning on bringing this woman to the States. They already have 2 kids of their own. If she doesn't have custody of the older 2, is she going to be bringing the daughter with her? How is that going to work?
There is zero mention of kids coming over with her when she does eventually come to the States. So my assumption is that she is planning to abandon her children, much as we've seen with other women on the show, and leave them behind in Mexico. Probably to say for a very, very long time, oh, I'm in the midst of trying to bring them up to the US. But in fact, that's not true. Okay. 1 or 2 other important details. This throuple has known each other for 1 year now, almost a year. And they have spent a total of 24 days together. And this, I think, is crucial. This is the basis on which they are determining the course of their future lives, the lives of these 5 children, and the life of this woman who is going to be leaving Mexico. 24 days is all that it has taken for them to come to the conclusion that they're going to tear their own family apart, get divorced, so that he can then marry Ani. There's lots of A's and lots of M's in all of the names of the new characters. So she's coming. He's going to get divorced. They're going to get married. So she would be there on a K-1 visa. What do your kids think about this? How do you explain this to your kids? Do you not think that the kids are going to suffer as a consequence of this dissolution and new marriage?
Even if it doesn't happen, the fact that this has already aired is going to scar them. Those kids, like their friends' parents are going to see this. You think that this isn't, even if none of it works out, even if they change their minds, this is already out in public. People are already going to see this. Those poor kids on both sides. And I also wonder, Minnie acknowledges that she's the jealous one, which makes me think that they're going to get divorced. She's going to be the one that marries Ani. And then Matt's just slowly going to get pushed out, which I think his name is pretty ironic because it feels as though Minnie has just walked all over him like he is a Matt. And because, it's all going to be copacetic, she's going to marry Ani. They're going to live this happy life. So he's not going to try to negotiate for anything in this divorce because it's all going to be an amicable relationship. even though it's fraudulent misrepresentation for the green card, sorry, that was a mouthful, this is not going to turn out well for anyone. And it's already awful for the kids. Won't anyone think of the children?
Nope.
And I'm
Why
not
would
even
we
saying
do
that
that?
sarcastically. Like, it's just, these are people too. And you're acting like they're just like ornaments in your life.
Yep. That's what children are.
Ugh.
I know. Not only not thinking about their kids and the long-term repercussions for the children and their mental health, but hello, you just said on national television that you're about to commit immigration fraud. You are purposely divorcing your wife, who will remain your wife, in effect, in order to remarry somebody else who you can bring from another country. In the current climate of things in the United States, do you think this is a good idea to let this particular cat out of the bag on TV?
I think for all intents and purposes that this is the worst time
No kidding.
in the political climate you're doing such things.
These people are taking a chance on everything. They are big time gamblers. They're taking a chance that their marriage will fail, however they decide to rearrange things. They're taking a chance that they will be caught in this fraudulent activity. They're gambling their children's lives, as well as Annie's children, Annie, the other woman's children's lives. They're just taking all reason out of the equation and acting purely on impulse, purely on sexual desire, on lust, on getting their rocks off and changing everybody's lives, probably for the worse, just so that they can feel sexually satisfied. Perfect.
Also with Amani, she says, she's got a pretty solid IT position. Do you not think that people at work are going to see this?
No.
Do you really think that they're going to want you being the face of any part of their company? I wonder about whether or not that's going to impact her sole source of income as well.
But what is this tech job? What is this, like, tech porn? Seriously, like, what is it? What is this job? I want to know.
I have no idea.
Okay. Somebody on the internet who is a sleuth, find out. Let us know. What does she actually do for work?
Yes. Oh, just a side note. I mean,
yes,
in the same vein, but I did look it up, and it takes 6 months to get divorced in California and it's a no fault. Divorce. So it's just 6 months, sign the papers, and that's it.
Okay.
Not sure if it's really that clean, but that's what I've read thus far. 6 months.
Good to know. Thank you. Reading on, we go back to Shekinah and Sarper in Istanbul. I have one note. Shall I read it to you?
Yes, please.
It is Sarper's K1 visa interview day in Istanbul.
Yes.
The end.
Shekinah's nothing but practically shit talk him. She's so condescending the whole time. She's putting doubts in his head. She's projecting her anxiety onto him. Her hair is so dry. I don't know who cut it. It looks like she cut it by herself in the dark. It's so choppy.
It looks like a wig. It looks like there's a brown wig on top, and then there's a darker brown wig on the bottom. It's just
very, very strange. And then she can't even cry. And to this, it reminded me of a Family Guy quote. It was botched. I can't cry. It was a botched facelift. And we know how many of those she's had.
Oh, yeah, poor Shekinah.
And then fast forward, my last comment, when he has his interview, she has no idea what's been going on, obviously. And he walks up and he's looking so depressed, but dapper in his Sarper ways. And I think he was just playing it up.
Well, of course, because we know from having watched the tell-all of the previous season of Before the 90 Days that he's in America. He got his visa. We know that already.
I know, but I was just commenting on the show that I was watching currently.
Okay. It's like, do you not remember, Amy? What happened?
I do remember.
Okay, good.
I'm walking on eggshells with the spoilers now. I don't want to play that game again.
All right. Let's read on. Let's go. So we've got Stevi. She's 37. She lives in Hattiesburg. Okay, never mind. She's from somewhere in the U.S. I think it's Missouri. And she is in love with Mahdi, who she calls Mahdi from Tehran, Iran. He is 27 years old, so 10-year age gap there. Not a big deal. She's a painter. She also teaches English online, and she has 2 children. We learned later on from her dad that she just got divorced. Red flag. Red flag. Flapping away. Give yourself some time once you get divorced. Don't jump into a relationship right away.
Also, what's the timeline? When did she get divorced? How long were they separated for? When did she start talking to Maddie? I need this in writing. Like, give me a flow chart here.
We are not privy to that information at this point. All we know is that he was one of her students who, after they had completed their English lessons together, he reached out to her on social media, and then they started a friendship, then a relationship that way. Okay, that's fine. They actually did spend some time in person together. They met in Turkey for 1 week, after which he proposed.
Sound timeline?
Do you think? These guys are on fast forward. Holy crap. And Stevi is so in love. She has told the whole world about her relationship. Of course, everybody knows about it. No, they don't.
Everyone but her father. Her poor Faja, who she loves more than anything in the world, who was just diagnosed with a fatal lung condition.
She didn't say fatal, and she didn't say condition. She said lung illness or lung disease. And I was like, what do you mean? Not that I'm skeptical that he's sick. I believe he's sick. I'm just, because what we know of the producers and how they like to play it up and make things appear worse and more dramatic than they are. I'm like, okay, I understand he's sick and that's a serious thing. Does he really have a death sentence from this, whatever it is, disease that he has? Because she doesn't say what it is. Could the producers just be pulling our chain?
She does say that he doesn't have long left.
We also don't know how old he is. We also don't know what kind of a lifestyle he lives. I mean, none of us have any great length of time left.
I mean, it could be something like COPD that can be managed with lifestyle and medication. And she could just be completely dramatic about the whole thing. I don't know, but I say fatal because she was adamant that he only has so much time left to live. And if he does, then why don't you spend that time with him instead of playing this game?
If he does, let's say this was our situation. We would know, A, what the disease was to be able to name it, and B, what the timeline was given by the doctors for his prognosis. And we get none of that information. So this is why I'm skeptical that it's just something that the production has dreamt up. Not that it's not real, it's real, but exaggerated so that we feel more sympathy towards her and her situation.
No, I definitely agree with you. I was just being just as dramatic as the show's been.
Yes. Okay, so everybody knows except for Daddy Redneck. He is very patriotic American. Well, that's what he calls himself.
Missed that part. And also, it just sounds funny coming out of your mouth. Anyway, continue.
Daddy Redneck is one of the kinds of Americans, as Stevi describes, this is not my words, these are hers, who think that everybody from Iran is a terrorist. So that's what she has to deal with. That's why she hasn't said anything to Daddy. When she does eventually go to talk to him, to tell him what's going on, she looks terrified. And this really took me for a loop. He is so disappointed to hear that Stevi is in love with a man from Iran. So disappointed. And that's just her telling him that she had previously met up with him when she went to Turkey a while back. That's not her telling him yet, oh, he's coming, we're engaged, we're going to get married in 90 days.
And he's coming tomorrow.
It's so much to drop on your daddy the day before your fiance arrives. And then she has to tell him he's coming tomorrow and we're getting married when he's just let on that he is not happy about the fact that she's with a guy from Iran. So big yikes.
You know what really disappointed me is she went there under the guise of, I need you to take a look at my car. And he was like, you really got to deal with this yourself. And he pulls out the jack. And here's this man who has a lung issue and he's manually pumping this jack. And she's just sitting there looking pretty, doing nothing. Do you really care about your father's lung condition if you're going to let him sit there and exert himself to that point where you're like, no, Dad, you need to sit down? Why can't you just use the lever and do it yourself? And then, so, he works up a sweat, jacking her car up. She makes him sit down. And then she just bomb after bomb after bomb. You didn't plan this out properly.
His reactions are priceless. Saying that Stevie's going to be treated like property, that she's going to be oppressed. that she'll be made to wear a jihad. I'm like, do you even know what the word means? Clearly not, because that's a holy war, not a piece of cloth that you have to cover your hair with. Holy crap, this was hilarious.
The look on my face when he said that was just like,
what? It is so racist. Oh my God. Ignorant. Yeah. So ignorant. And he's completely reluctant to say whether or not he's going to accept Mahdi or the relationship.
Of course he's not. He said it, just not in those words.
So this is another one that is just doomed for failure. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe he's going to come. He's going to win everybody over.
I don't know. But one thing that her father didn't ask was, do you think he wants to come here and get a green card based on the unrest in his country? That would have been a valid question, Father.
Yes.
But he did not ask that.
No. Just whether or not she's going to have to wear a jihad. Yeah.
I'm curious to know whether or not Maddie knows that she has kids.
That's a great question.
Because it was never brought up. It was just, she mentioned it during her intro and then nothing.
Yeah.
And her dad doesn't even ask about them. Have the kids met him? No, of course. We're not thinking about the kids at all, are we?
Daddy Redneck just brings up the past marriage, saying, oh, didn't you just get divorced? Oh, yeah. But tell us more.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah.
I want to know. When was this? Was it like 6 months ago? A year ago? 10 years ago? What's the arrangement with the kids? Do they live with you? Do they live with him?
What was the reason for the divorce? How long were they married for?
Mm-hmm.
How long did she know her previous husband before they got married? Is her ex-husband involved in the children's lives? Is Maddie gonna have any kind of interaction with him?
Yeah.
So many questions that nobody
answer. Nobody. All right. Moving on. Time for Mark, who is 58, from New Hampshire, and Mina. See, told you, lots of M words. Mark and Mina, Matt, Amani, and Annie. Mina is 35. She's from Paris. This is a bit of an age gap. 58 to 35. What do we think about this?
About the age gap itself?
Did you buy it that he walked into a restaurant and they locked eyes?
No.
Neither did I.
No.
I think we know where I'm going with this. This is a young woman who is definitely after something very particular, and she has found a man who is single, older, well off,
is a pilot, flies private plane,
yes, leads a lifestyle where, yes, he comes into contact with the rich and famous from time to time.
Those that he cannot name, but then they proceed to show photos.
Show all the pictures. Yeah, she is looking for something specific, and 35, and she gets pregnant as a whoopsie. No.
Oh, no, this was 100% a baby trap.
On purpose, for sure.
And the clout chasing with this one is so rich because, you know, they show the engagement, and even as he's proposing, she's recording the whole time. It's all about the ring, and, you know, and then she was recording at another time, and you know, with the birth of their baby, everything's recorded. Why? Because it gets her followers.
Yeah.
Because it gets her clout, and that's all she wants.
Ew.
But, you know, one baby's not enough. She's got to baby trap him with 2. But what I thought was interesting was when he was talking to his daughter, and she was talking about the baptism, you know, when everyone flew over to Paris for the baptism.
Yeah.
And she just disappeared to go get glammed up and was like 3 or 4 hours late for
baptism.
I believe it was her first child's baptism.
Yeah, I don't know how that's even possible because, well, most people in Paris are Roman Catholic. That's the leading religion. How can you keep a priest waiting and a whole congregation for 3 to 4 hours?
How long do you have that church for?
Not long.
Because typically isn't it like one baptism after the other, and it's just like a roster?
Yeah, usually there's a few babies all getting baptized at the same time, and they each get their turn at the font, getting the water dripped on their forehead. I don't know where the problem is in this. Maybe it was just actually a party afterwards that she was 3 to 4 hours late for, but it was a great story.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it says a lot about Mina that she would do this. All I could think in the moment was, okay, so it's your brand new baby, and maybe the baby had a meltdown, or you had to do some breastfeeding, or that it was just a slew of events that happened where she couldn't extricate herself for a while, and she had a bit of a mommy meltdown. I remember those. You just can't bear to be with anybody or face anything because it's so overwhelming. But when Jordan said it was just so that she could get glammed up, I was like,
And that everyone was passing the baby around.
Okay, so
the baby.
She didn't even have the baby with her, right? Okay. These two have been dating long distance for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They got engaged sometime, I guess, after those 2 years. And within 6 months, she was pregnant.
And they're already talking about baby number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Based on this timeline and what very little we know about her, I feel like she's going to have a couple kids with him. She's not going to sign the prenup. She's going to book it, leave him with the kids, take her alimony, whatever, settlement, and just peace out. I hope that's not true, but out of all of the parents that I've ever known, I have never known one to be late to their own child's baptism. I mean, maybe like 10 minutes or something. That's 3-4 hours to get glammed up. No, sir. No, sir.
There are some definite issues between Mina and the children. He has 2 grown-up children. And Jordan kind of alludes to a couple of them. One was the baptism issue. And then there was another part where she was talking about a dinner that they had where things didn't go well. The tension that Jordan is obviously feeling and that comes across quite palpably towards her stepmother to be is very real. And yet dad isn't picking up on it. And I don't understand that, because if they have been together for these 2 years and his kids have now met her because of the baptism and stuff, why hasn't he been able to figure out that there may be this friction between his kids, or at least Jordan and his bride-to-be? Why is this news to him? He's not listening?
No, I think the way that Jordan speaks, I think she's very articulate, and she speaks her mind openly, and he just doesn't hear it.
But she's also quite judgy. Did you not feel that she was really judging Mina? I mean, obviously she's worried that Mina's there for the wrong reasons, and clearly she is. But she's very, very direct about how she feels about this woman. And I got the sense that she doesn't like somebody else having control of her dad, and that she's probably grown up as daddy's little girl her whole life and been the focus of his attention, in addition to her brother, who is not on the show, by the way. We don't see anything about him. And then having this new woman come in who's only a few years older. If Jordan's 27 and Mina's 35, there's 8 years difference there. And she is going to take over all of daddy's attention. And presumably there's a chance she could take over all of daddy's money too, which Jordan would have grown up expecting that she will one day have along with her brother. So I can see a lot of reasons why Jordan really doesn't want this relationship to work, and she thinks that this is the wrong choice for her dad.
I hadn't thought about the whole daddy-daughter relationship thing, but I think her concern is not so much about taking the attention away from her and her siblings. I think it's more or less that the attention that is taken away is not for good reasons. Like, he's not marrying someone who presumably is getting into the relationship for the right reasons, because she loves him, because she wants to foster a relationship with his kids. She wants their lives to become one. She obviously doesn't want to, overstep on the mom role, but she wants to get to know the kids, like become a nuclear family. No, Mina just wants to come in, have her own family, screw the other kids, and then she's going to leave. So I think it's more or less that it's about the wrong intentions and the fact that she really doesn't seem to give a shit about his kids in any capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that ostracization.
Yeah, I definitely, there's some ostracizing going on. And there's she's trying to set a clear path for herself in her life. I'm talking about Mina here, not Jordan. She wants to clearly define her role as the matriarch of the family. And having these grown adult kids is, I think, a bit difficult for her. She doesn't know how to maneuver around that. And if she is, as we suspect, doing all of this for the wrong reasons, then her eye is clearly on the money. And she will be doing everything she can to make sure that she gets as much of his money as she can and screws the adult children out of their portion of it.
And might also screw him out of his retirement.
Quite possibly. Yeah.
I don't see this ending well.
No, neither do we. We're so optimistic today. Jordan wants her dad to get a prenup to protect his interests, which are also hers. He is amenable to that. He thinks that that's probably a good idea. I think we see that in a preview. But yeah, she is quite harsh, and I predict some big fireworks between her and Mina when she eventually arrives in the U.S.
But we've only heard 2 stories from her thus far, so maybe there's a ton more that we haven't heard yet that adds more credence to her judgment.
Well, I think we've seen enough of Mina's behavior in the little selfie videos and that tiny little clip that we saw for during later on in the season when she's in the States and how she acts there. She's definitely a prima donna diva type.
Which really doesn't reflect based on her hair. But, you know, judging aside, when I saw that preview, I almost clapped. I was like, I cannot wait for that. And I'm not saying I am not a model. I mean, how often do we record and my hair is exactly like this? Like, I am just, I mean, it's what we're here for. It's to judge everything, and I don't have hope for this couple, but I am looking forward to this and seeing how this unfolds. I'd like to meet her. I would like to see how the two communicate, how they behave towards each other and around one another, and then how she behaves and communicates with the children when she's in the States, and also how she behaves with her own child. I mean, there's just there's so much to look forward to, and I think I'm with you. Who was the other couple? Jessica and Juan. How excited you are to see them crash and burn. That's how excited I am about Mark and Mina.
Yeah. The only people that I wish were not on the season are the throuple.
Yes.
Eject them, bring in somebody else, because I really don't have time for this ridiculous nonsense.
No, I agree with you. And the fact that they outright said that they want to commit green card fraud in the very first episode. No, thank you. They should have been removed from the very beginning. I mean, I would take Sarper and Shekinah over them a million times over.
Yeah. Just awful.
But it's new. It's something new.
It's brand new. We have yet to meet Gregory and Joan. And then the final remaining couple this season will be Sean and Aaliyah from Love in Paradise.
Are you surprised that they're still together?
Yes, I am. Very.
I also am.
And I think maybe there's a chance that they're together just to be on the show again. Perhaps.
It's possible. But I remember when they first came on, and I was really rooting for them. And then we all saw how that ended.
We saw big cracks in their relationship, and although they had some sweet moments, it mostly felt like they were trying to put on a sweater that just didn't fit anymore. You put it in the dryer and it's way too small. You can't wear that anymore. It's not going to work, but they're just desperately trying to stretch it down and cover their midsection.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's cold outside. I'm thinking about warmth. Okay, so we get a little preview of some of the things that are going to happen. And the only thing that really matters to me, and I'm going to be looking forward to it every moment of the season until we get it, is the house cow.
Oh, yes.
Give me the house cow.
Sarper's reaction to it was so adorable. And then how excited he was in the interview. House cow? Yeah, and it looked like a floofy little calf.
I know.
And I thought that was just so lovely and quite surprising. Is this at Shekinah's house? Because if so, that's even doubly surprising.
Probably not.
I wouldn't think so. I feel like she lives in a hoity-toity condo, and this might be her parents' place or something. But either way, the fact that she got to presumably grow up around this is just lovely.
Oh, it can't be her parents' house because she doesn't have anything to do with her parents anymore, remember? Because they're the sort of Mormon type or Amish.
No, she's close with her dad.
Was she? I thought she kind of was disowned or had disowned her whole family except for her one sister, but then she's not talking to her one sister because her one sister decided that she didn't like Sarper.
Well, I know that she had coffee or something with her dad before she went over to see Sarper.
No. Her dad. That was her ex-husband.
Wow.
That was her ex-husband. That was the father of her daughter. I love that you said it was her dad. Holy shit. No, not daddy. Not daddy.
I am so surprised.
No.
All right. Well, then, whatever I just said is void.
It's Monday. All right. Any final notes?
I don't trust anything that's going on in my brain right now.
Thing that comes out of your mouth might be just complete and utter nonsense. I have to say that last season or every previous season that Shekinah and Sarper have been on, we haven't been paying all that much attention. So I can understand how you would have blanked out through the introduction of him as her ex-husband and just gone him automatically to he was her dad because he was quite a bit older.
Just, it made sense to me, and because we did boycott them.
Yep. All right. I think it's time to go. And before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.